Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be making this very simple and cute crop top that you can see on your screen. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So I've already gone ahead to fold my fabric into four, meaning I'll be cutting the back and the front piece together. So since this fabric is really stretchy, I don't need a zipper allowance for this tutorial, and that is why I pinned my fabric all the way around, because I don't want the fabric to move while I'm taking my measurements. So I'll start by taking my shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8 inches. I'm going to go down from that point by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'm going to slant all the way to the neckline area like this. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my neckline measurement. So for the width, I'm going to be taking 3 inches, and for the depth, I'm going to take 2 inches. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the 2 inches to meet the 3 inches. I initially took 1.5 inch, but I changed my mind. I made it 2 inches. That is why you're seeing two lines on the neckline area. The next thing I'll do is to determine the wideness of my armhole. So half of my armhole measurement is 8 inches, but this top does not have a sleeve, so we don't need it to be that wide. So I'm going to reduce it by 2 inches. So I just went down by 6 inches instead of 8 inches, because this top does not require a sleeve. So I connected the point into a straight line, and on the middle point I'm going to use my chalk to carve out my armhole like this. So if you have been following my channel, you should know how to do this. This is just your regular basic bodice pattern. So after doing that, next thing I'm going to do is to take the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. I'm going to indicate that on that point I'm going to take my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'm not going to add any stitching allowance because this fabric is very stretchy. On the waist area, I'm going to take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'm not going to add stitching allowance also. So I'm going to connect from my armhole to make my bust point, and from my bust point to meet the waistline like this. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So if you're using a fabric that is not stretchy, don't forget to add your allowance to it. And if you want to add a sleeve to your top, go ahead and place half of your round armhole measurement. So after cutting, guys, this is what I have. The length of this top is 15.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for you guys to see. So we have two pieces for this. One is for the front and one is for the back. So I'm going to place them right sides facing each other. So if your fabric is not stretchy and you have a zipper allowance at the back, at this point go ahead and close your zipper allowance. Use a loose stitch to join your zipper allowance together, then place your fabric together like this, right sides facing each other. So what I'm going to do next is to cut out one part of the armhole. So I'm going to use my chalk to trace out for you guys to see. So from this armhole, I'm going to cut this armhole out completely. So I'm going to work my way around it, just like you see me doing. I'm going to curve to meet the other shoulder area, as you can see. So if you don't understand, just look at what I'm doing, and then I'll go ahead and so like I said before, if the fabric you are using is not stretchy and you have a zipper allowance at the back, join the zipper allowance together using a very loose stitch so that you can loosen it back by the time you are done cutting. And make sure your fabric is placed on each other, right side or wrong side. If you are using the wrong side should be facing the wrong side, and if you are using the right side should be facing the right side. I hope that makes sense. Since my fabric is placed on each other, right side facing right side, I'm going to pin the shoulder area. I'm going to stitch, and then I'm going to hem the neckline from the front to the back. I'll also go ahead and hem my armhole. So if you have a bias tape, you can use it to do that. So guys, after hemming, this is what I have. You can see that my neckline is concealed, the armhole also, and I also joined my shoulders. So what I'm going to do is to place it back, right sides facing each other, and then I'm going to arrange everything so that everything will be in place. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing my measurements. So like I said before, this fabric is really stretchy, so I'm going to measure around this neckline area, and I'm going to mark 15 inches. After doing that, I'm going to take the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. On the 10 inches, I'm going to mark 14.5 inches. I'm just doing this randomly, but if your fabric is not stretchy, make sure you place your exact measurement. And I'm going to also place my tape on my armhole area, and I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. So I'm basically reducing everything by 1 inch. Remember, I did not add a stitching allowance to this. That is because this fabric is stretchy and I need to take in more fabric also. So after doing that, on the waistline, I'll reduce my waist circumference by 1 inch also. I'll place, and then I'll go ahead and sew on these two lines that I have made. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it inside out. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to create the opening right in front of this top. So you guys can see that the opening did not start directly from the side front, so I'm going to come in from the side front by 4 inches. I'm going to mark that. After doing that, on that 4 inches, I'll go up by 1.5 inches. That's because I don't want this opening to be too deep. I'm going to mark that. So I'm going to curve from the 1.5 inch to meet the other side of this top. After curving, I'll go ahead and cut. So I'm cutting just the front, so raise it up before cutting so you don't cut the front and the back together. After cutting, I'll go ahead and loose the other side of the front so that I'll be able to hem. So I'm going to fold this back in, and I'm going to hem it carefully to give it a neat finishing. So that is why I did not cut it too much, because I know that I will also hem it. So after hemming, this is what I have. You can see that we already have the shape that we are looking for. So don't cut too much, because after cutting, you are still going to hem. So after doing that, guys, this is what I have. The next thing I did was to cut out my band. So for the band, I went ahead to cut out a really long rope. I think it's about 2 yards, and I went ahead to sew it, and I turned it inside out. So the length that I have is 1.5 inches. You can make yours wider than this, but this is the amount of fabric that I have, so I'm just managing the fabric that I have. So in order to know how to pin it to the waistline of this top, I'm going to fold my top into two like this, and I'm going to notch the middle point of the back piece. After notching it, I'm going to now place the middle point of the band on the middle point of my top, and I'm going to pin all the way around. So after pinning, I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way around. And yeah, that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Please don't forget to like this video. Let me know if you'll be trying this tutorial in the comment section, and if you do, don't forget to send me pictures on Instagram at jcouture. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, leave a comment for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.